Okay. Time is 7:01. I'll call to order the City of Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for March 15th, 2023. Attendance this evening is by Zoom or in person at City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. Instructions for Zoom are available online at www.torringtonct.org/Zoom. There's a link there to join the meeting. You call in at 1-646-558-8656, meeting ID 795-950-7035, passcode 907148. Moving on to agenda item number 2, attendance. Serving on the commission this evening in person, Donna Greco, myself, Greg Mealy. Also in attendance is our city planner. Serving remotely is Greg Parasino and Donovan Riley. Moving on to agenda item number 3, minutes for approval. A for February 15th, 23. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from Donna. Do I have a second? I believe both of those gentlemen were absent. You want to?
I wasn't there.
We'll have to push these off for a moment.
We'll push these off for a month till we get some of the other commission members. So
Okay.
let's put a hold on that. All right. Time is 7:02. Moving on to agenda item number 4, public hearings beginning at 7 p.m. March 15th, 2023, City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. A, special exception 22-08 and site plan 1425. Applicant Alum Realty, Inc., location 861 New Harrington Road. Proposal, sale of gasoline, new canopy, parking, landscaping, site work, signage. This was continued from February 15th, 2023. This application has been withdrawn. We have a letter addressed to Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission, care of Jeremy Lyford, City Planner, City Hall, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut, regarding Alum Realty, Inc., special exception 22-08 and site plan 1425. This is from Halloran and Sage, Michael Ziska. Dear commission members, this form is legal counsel to the applicant Alum Realty, Inc. As you know, the applicant appeared before you in 2021 with similar applications. At that time, the city engineer had made only a relatively few technical comments about the applications, which the applicant believed it had adequately addressed in the current applications. The applicant has spent considerable time, effort, and money to address all issues raised to date. We also note that the site design has been reviewed and approved by the Connecticut DOT. Consequently, the applicant and its team members were very surprised by the memos submitted by the city engineer last month, saying for the first time that the site design was not practical. While we strongly disagree with that opinion, the applicant has not had adequate time to assemble a proper response. For that reason, the applicant respectfully withdraws the application referenced above. We thank the commission for its time and consideration. Very truly yours, Michael A. Ziska. Okay. So we're moving on to agenda item. Moving on to agenda item number 4B at 7:04 p.m. Proposed change of zone map and site plan 1441. Applicant Patrick Johnson, location 53 McDermott Avenue. Proposal, change zone to local business LB with AM overlay and adult use cannabis retail establishment. Serving on the commission this evening is Greg Parasino, Donna Greco, Donovan Riley, myself, Greg Mealy. Also in attendance is the city planner, Jeremy Lyford. Do you have a legal notice,
I do.
please?
City of Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission, legal notice. The Planning and Zoning Commission has scheduled public hearings on the following applications at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 in the City Hall Auditorium, room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. A, applicant Patrick Johnson, location 53 McDermott Ave, proposal change of zone map to LB with AM overlay, currently LB, an adult use cannabis retail establishment. Time of hearing immediately following the first, oh, this is the first public hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Greco. Is the applicant in attendance?
Yes, sir.
And your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Patrick Johnson, 29 Hathaway Road, Osterville, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Were the green cards sent out and the sign posted for the time allotted in our regulations?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you have copies of those, Jeremy? Or
I don't have the green cards.
Okay. Were they submitted or?
Actually, there should be an email to you just today, if not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll verify. I'll verify.
All right, please continue.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick Johnson. I'm here on behalf of a equity joint venture under the entity name Nutmeg Northwest JV LLC. It's in joint venture with Curaleaf. The applicant is hoping to open up an adult use cannabis establishment at 53 McDermott Avenue. We were here presenting in front of you in November for a different location. The two biggest issues at that time was parking and it was traffic. The biggest issue with traffic was putting customers onto a residential road, which was the major issue. We believe with this new side of 53 McDermott Road, we've addressed both those issues. From a parking perspective, we had 71 parking spots with a lot of the feedback that we got from the town, the people we worked with. We reduced that down to 57 to account for some new landscaping and such. And then also from a traffic perspective, we're not on a residential road. We are in an area shared with other large businesses, a movie theater, Ocean State
Job lot.
sorry,
I'll help you.
and Planet Fitness. So there was obviously, it's very well suited, we believe, for what we're trying to do. I'm going to have our engineer from East West Engineering, Galen Semperpon, present some of the changes we've done. We've worked quite a bit with the town, taken all their feedback into account. We've submitted an updated site plan that we believe reflects all those changes. And we'd like to present those changes for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. For the record, Galen Sempervan, Senior Project Manager, licensed professional engineer with East West Engineering, doing business in West Hartford, Connecticut. Basically, the site itself, 53 McDermott Avenue, is located on the west side of McDermott's Avenue, right at the intersection with Farley Place, is a 2.41 acre piece of property that was previously developed. It had last use was a restaurant, I believe Chinese or Asian restaurant. It presently has 71 parking spaces on the site, 2 driveways associated with that property, and then it has a cross connection to a 3rd driveway. There's actually the property immediately in front of the restaurant building is owned by the adjacent property to the north, so it has a cross connection to that 3rd access. In addition to the 71 paved parking spaces, there is an additional gravel parking lot in the rear. The site has been improved back in the 2000s. We've seen plans from like 2007. I believe there was an approval in 2004. At that time, various upgrades were done to the site. So it's in pretty good condition overall. It's got good lighting on it. It's got drainage system and a detention basin on the site. What we are proposing to do is basically maintain the existing building, existing parking for the most part, and entrance locations. We're not looking to do a lot of substantial changes to the property from the basic layout. There are some improvements that based on the staff discussions, meeting with the staff and their comments that we are looking to do. One of the entrance drive or the driveway at the intersection of Farley Place and McDermott Street, where our closest driveway on our property, we're looking to make a one-way in. The reason for that is we don't want the traffic coming out of that driveway interacting with the intersection. It's basically right at the stop bar, so it's kind of an awkward location. We are looking actually to reduce the parking on the site. Some of the spaces really don't conform to the requirements, so we're looking to reduce from 71 to 57. 57 parking spaces. As part of that, we are looking to rework. Actually, Judy is online and she could share the drawing if that would be easier.
Just let me know.
There she is.
Good
It's
evening.
Good evening.
Judy Schuler with East West Engineering. She's the president and also a professional engineer.
Would you all like me to share my screen?
Yeah, if you could, Judy.
Sure.
Just a note to Don Riley's,
Yeah.
I mean, Starley areas, just log in.
Okay, thank you. At 7:11, Starley Aries joined us.
Okay. On the left is our removal plan where it's showing the removal of some of the parking spaces, et cetera. These changes for the parking, once again, is basically striping on the pavement, but we're looking to remove some parking along the bottom side of the lot that really don't conform presently, and restripe the handicap parking spaces immediately in front of the building to bring those into compliance. We also would be marking out a loading space in the rear, to the rear of the building, adding a dumpster pad and enclosure. And then we are looking to add some additional landscaping on the site, once again, to bring it into compliance. The intent here is as much as possible, or is to bring the site into compliance with the regulations as they exist now. As part of the landscaping work, the larger gravel area in the rear, and also a smaller gravel area in back of the existing brick building. There's a second smaller building on site to the south of the restaurant. And there's in back of that, and also in the back of the majority of the property, there's a gravel millings parking areas. And the staff has requested that we basically remove those areas and turn them into loam and sedum and turn them into green areas. So we've shown that on the site also. We are requesting 2 waivers as part of this site. On the lighting plan requirements, we aren't looking to make any changes to the existing lighting. If you look out there, there's full cutoff fixtures, poles, I mean, up-to-date lighting, basically. So we're looking to just maintain the existing lighting. So as such, we're asking for a waiver from the requirements for a lighting plan. And then on parking, the maximum number of parking spaces allowed based on zoning is 26. So we are requesting a waiver from the parking requirement to allow us to maintain the 57 spaces on the site. Once again, that's a reduction from the 71 existing paved marked out spaces, and with the loaming and seeding of the gravel areas, it's actually a much larger reduction in parking because those areas wouldn't be available for parking anymore. I'm not going to go, the staff has provided us with comments. We've worked to address the majority of their comments. There are a few outstanding comments, particularly with confirming the adequacy of the existing storm drainage and detention basin system that we are still working to address. We have prepared a traffic report as part of this submittal. And basically, we looked at the existing property. Well, we prepared a full traffic report for the property. We analyzed the McDermott Farley intersection based on the generation of the traffic. We wouldn't be adding more than 10% beyond that intersection. So the typical standards for analysis is to go as far as 10% of your traffic added to an intersection. We first off, we looked at the DOT's traffic counts. They actually have a traffic count station on McDermott, just north of Route 4, which allowed us to determine the peak hours that we'd be looking to analyze. Based on those peak hours, we did traffic counts at the intersection of McDermott and Farley for both the AM, the PM, and also the Saturday peak periods. And then we compared them to the DOT. The DOT is maintaining their traffic counts from the pre-COVID time of 2019. So basically, it's kind of an awkward time from a traffic point of view because you go out, you count an intersection, and you need to know whether what you're counting has decreased from the pre-COVID times or not. So because we had that traffic count station by the DOT, it was an easy ability to compare. And while I believe the AM peak was down about 70 cars, the PM peak was actually up above the DOT's count by 50 or 60 cars. So it basically is essentially equal to the 2019. So it appears that we've rebounded back from pre-COVID or from the COVID significant drop in traffic. And you probably can surmise that when you're driving in the peak periods now. We generated traffic. We took a look at the size of the building, which is 5,562 square feet. And we used the ITE, the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual for a marijuana dispensary. And based on that square footage, the ITE rates are based on square footage of the building. We came up with a weekday AM peak traffic of 92 vehicles, PM of 105, and a Saturday peak of 160 vehicle trips. A vehicle trip is a trip into or out of. So a vehicle that comes to your site and then leaves is 2 vehicle trips, one coming in and one leaving. So so you can look at approximate figuring 50-50 distribution about how many vehicles per hour would be coming to the site during the peak hours. Based on ITE's rate or information, the AM peak is basically in the later morning. The PM peak for this use is actually much later. It's generally around 7 to 8 p.m. In the evening. People don't tend to. This is more of a destination. It's not the type of use that you'd stop on your way home, like a grocery store or that. So based on that, we did our analysis based on their peak distribution times also. For distribution, we had counted the intersection of Farley and McDermott, including the driveway from the Planet Fitness Ocean State Job Lot Plaza. And we used the distribution of traffic from that plaza as the basis for our distribution of traffic. So we basically attributed the number of trips going on Farley versus south on McDermott based on that distribution. And then we combined the traffic and did the analysis. And based on the analysis, the intersection would continue to operate at a level of service A for all the peak periods. We looked at the sight lines; they were adequate for the driveways, and we looked at the accident information produced or compiled by the Yukon website, and basically there were no indications of deficiencies in the intersection or in the roadway system that were attributable to creating accidents. And it was certainly not a high accident location. I believe there was one accident in that immediate vicinity for the 3-year period we reviewed. So that's kind of a summation of the traffic and of the site design. I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions you might have, or if you require additional information.
Just a quick question. I see on the removal plan, there's 3 mobile homes that are being removed. What's the intent of the other existing structure to the southerly side of the site? The front building there?
The existing brick structure would
Right.
remain,
Okay. and
but we
Another
are
type of
looking.
use at some point?
I mean, we're not owners of the property,
Oh, okay.
we're renting,
Oh,
so
I
it
see.
would be
Okay.
up to the
So
owners.
it's a
but-
separate entity?
Yeah, there is a new owner coming in who has plans for that, but they'll be presenting
Okay,
this
yeah.
approval.
As of right now, it's an approved office use.
okay,
For the
all right,
other structure.
okay. In the site plan, I see you have a 10 by 35 truck loading space right next to that cooler. That cooler is remaining
No,
on the building. That's,
that cooler would be removed.
Okay.
From, as part of the sale from the new owner,
I see.
to the
Okay,
new owner rather, so.
gotcha.
Maybe just
Okay.
add a note on that.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
Yeah. And any additional doors cut in or anything there?
No, there's a door right, I guess, south of that cooler space. That will be the only remaining door
Okay,
there. So that's
all right.
where, that's where the deliveries are gonna go in
Yep.
through back of house that way.
Thank you.
The initial plans were actually missing the loading space, so
Okay.
they were requested to add it.
Gotcha. All right. Do any other commissioners have any questions at this time?
No.
No. No. You want to run through your memo? We'll go to the public or?
I think we should.
I've got a quick question.
Go ahead, Donovan. Thank you.
In terms of the peak traffic hours you mentioned were in the early evening, 7, 8 o'clock. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I think that was based on the kind of the general industry data.
Yep. Just to elaborate
Okay, so-
slightly, that peak here, that's the peak for the use itself. We analyzed the peak for the adjacent street or the PM peak hour of McDermott. So the peak traffic of our use would be at 7 to 8, but the peak traffic on McDermott is 4 to 5. And that's the hour we analyzed as part of our analysis.
Well, you have some non-coincidental uses there too. People into the movie theater, parked and staying, so there's probably less
was-
traffic.
That's where I was going, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering about how that meshes in with when the evening
But what's your
movie theater
anticipated hours of
rush would be
operation?
either coming in or
So-
going out.
The hours we're proposing right now, which is similar to our last application, is 9 to 8, Monday through Saturday, and 10 to 5 on Sunday.
Okay.
We're gonna obviously evaluate,
Sure.
and we'll obviously communicate any such changes to you, and we'll
Right.
always stay within the allowed hours, but those are the hours we tend to do at all stores.
Mm-hmm.
But, we'll obviously kind of adjust if needed.
As part of sort of the planning for the site too, the public works engineering is planning on rebuilding the Farley Place McDermott intersection.
Okay,
So that's,
anyway,
when they've made comments on this, they're doing that with sort of that in
Gotcha.
mind too.
so there's still some outstanding issues with engineering?
Engineering needs to review this. There's
Okay.
there's calculations on stormwater and we need a wetlands report back.
Okay.
I mean, my recommendation is that we hold off on the
Okay,
reading.
that's fine.
Because it may change.
Yeah.
So
All right. I'll go to public at all, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go to the public. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please. Anybody remotely? Being none, would anyone like to speak in opposition of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Anyone remotely? All right, being none, the time is 7:25. We'll choose to continue this until we get the rest of the information from the other departments, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All right, the sign, excuse me, the time is 7:25. Moving on to agenda item number 4C, special exception 23-01 and site plan 1442, applicant A. Secundino and Sons, Inc., location 95 Grove Street and 104 Grove Street. Proposal, change of use to educational facility and office use. It's a former church use. Do you have legal notice,
I do.
please?
City of Torrington Planning and Zoning Commission legal notice. The Planning and Zoning Commission has scheduled public hearings on the following applications at 7 PM on Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, in the City Hall Auditorium, Room 218, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. B, special exception 23-01 and site plan 1442, applicant A. Secundino and Son, Inc., location 95 Grove Street and 104 Grove Street. Proposal, change of use to educational facility and office use, former church use. Time of hearing immediately following the previous public hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Greco. Serving on the commission this evening is Greg Cursino, Donovan Riley, Starley Arias, Donna Greco, myself, Greg Mealy, and also in attendance is our city planner, Jeremy Lightford. Is the applicant in attendance, please?
Yes, sir.
Were the green cards submitted and a sign posted for the time?
Yes, the signs were posted on the site as well as green cards submitted.
All right, very good. Thank you. Please continue.
Sure. Good evening. Okay. For the record, my name is John Schmitz. I'm a civil engineer with BL Companies, Meriden, 355 Research Parkway, Meriden, Connecticut. Representing the applicant tonight. I'll be walking through the site plans, and we have a team here tonight who will also be walking through some of the architectural elements of the project. The site is unique. It's actually two separate parcels located on Grove Street. It's the former Sacred Heart Roman Catholic Church. It is two addresses. It's 95 and 104 Grove Street. You see here on this plan is the existing conditions. The existing church and the rectory are located on 104 Grove Street. That's the east side of Grove Street at the top of the hill. And on the other side of Grove Street, 95, is where the existing convent is. The proposed school building will be located roughly in the same area as the former school that was located there. A little different shape to the school, but more or less the same, occupy the same parcel. Today, it's a gravel lot. It's undeveloped and vacant in that area. But again, it was the former location of the previous school that was there. 95 School Street is approximately 1.29 acres in size, and 104, again, the church parcel is only 0.97. So in total, we're roughly 2.3 acres in size. And what we propose to do is develop both parcels in combination. So the school would be placed again on 95 School Street, or rather Grove Street. And the parking for those would be a combination of on both lots. So we would have a new, yeah, I'll let you get it to there. There's that. And I'll just show you on our site plan. So we propose to develop the lots with a combination of parking. One main lot for the school would be on the south side of the school with two curb cuts. Right on Grove Street, there would be one direction, one-way curb cuts in and out. We provide roughly 21 parking spaces in those lots, and then we would construct another parking lot just to the south of the existing church building, and then another lot behind the current rectory. There's a garage there today. There's also a curb cut at the rectory, but what we would do would be to maintain the existing curb cut, add some more parking to the rear of the rectory, remove the garage, and then provide a driveway out back to Grove Street. The convent would remain, again, the rectory and the church also would remain. And as you see on this plan in green, would be where the school would be located, just to the south. With regards to grading and drainage, this, again, the site is relatively level, given that it was developed previously. Stormwater runoff from the school portion of the site runs mostly to Grove Street. A small area of the site does drain to the west into the river. It's down on the bottom of the hill. With regards to the rectory and the church, both of those sites have minor drainage areas that drain to the street, to the west. The majority of that runoff runs to the east, though, in the back. So you'll note that 104 Grove Street is actually a through lot, has frontage on Grove Street as well as Brook Street, although it only has access to the right of way on Grove Street. It's because Brook Street is roughly 8 to 10 feet below. There's a retaining wall all along the site frontage on Brook Street. So there's no direct access from the properties to Brook Street for vehicular access. So again, that water runs today down Brook Street. We'll be detaining stormwater, providing for stormwater quality as well for the added runoff and impervious area. We also submitted in the plan set a landscaping plan. We're completely renovating the areas that were disturbing, approximately including a new landscaping plan for the parking lots as well as the front of the school. That included approximately 26 new trees and a total of 93 shrubs throughout. All areas would be grassed that are disturbed, will be renovated as grass. Also in the set included was an erosion control plan showing how we would address erosion control during construction with BMPs such as silt fence, anti-tracking aprons, things of that nature, inlet control, to again address sediment transport during construction. We do have received comments from staff, and we're currently working through those now to address everything. We do intend to provide some revised plans and address those comments as we go forward. And we'll be providing a lighting plan to go along with these plans as well. We did provide a traffic study, an impact study that addressed how traffic would be access the site. Again, Grove Street's residential site, street, as is Brook Street, more or less. There's two intersections, a signalized intersection at the south end of Grove Street. And at the north end is a stop controlled intersection. Obviously, traffic arriving at the site would be using Grove Street and either of those two intersections, north or south end of the site. That's kind of a brief outline of the site in general. I'm just going to turn things over to Andy Graves, our project architect, who can give you a brief outline of the building itself.
Thank you.
So as John mentioned, there are 3 buildings on site. We are only adding an addition to the existing convent on the south side of the street to the west side. It's a new Head Start program with 11 classrooms, 2 specialized support spaces, and then general administrative and other support spaces. The existing convent is going to remain intact. And the new addition, as I said, is to the west. There are 8 classrooms on the first floor. Because of ADA access, we've got to keep the building at grade, and the existing floor for the existing convent is about 3 feet above grade. So we have an internal ramp that's going to connect the new classroom spaces to the support spaces, generally offices and meeting spaces in the existing convent. So the existing fenestration and all those spaces will remain intact. We're trying to keep the existing convent, which is a beautiful building, untouched as much as possible. There's going to be an elevator core. The main circulation is located between the convent and classroom buildings to the west. Because these are all Head Start, so they're all 3 and 4-year-olds in the building, by code, we're required to provide direct access out of each one of those spaces to grade. We have 2 egress stairs at each end of the new addition. We're maintaining existing staircases in the existing convent intact. Upstairs, we've got 3 more classrooms. We had to provide interior stairs that directly go from the classroom directly outside per code. Because they're little kids, they have to have direct access to grades. So we provide that kind of access. Again, the main lobby is between the existing convent and the stairs. We've got an elevator course which provides support for both spaces. Again, upstairs, it's mostly just support spaces, administrative offices, and existing convent. Again, we'll take advantage of the existing fenestration and leave the building intact and not make any serious modifications there. Moving on to the elevations. We did actually bring some physical samples. You can see them on the far table. So the storefront's going to be a white white coated aluminum storefront system. The main facades of the building are going to be extruded precast concrete panels. They're insulated sandwich panels. They have great R value and good thermal mass because they're extruded with rigid insulation in the middle of those panels. They perform well thermally. They're very durable for this kind of school condition. We're going to try and match the existing brick on the existing building. We've sort of done our best first pass to match that brick, but the intent, brick has a lot of different tones in it. We're happy to have the commission out there. We can work through to make it, we get a good color match existing brick colors. So the goal was not to compete with the building. It's got a lot of character to it, so to add something simple, but pick up some of the basic lines. As I said, the first floor is going to be 3 feet below the floor of the convent, but that allows us to align the second floor up with the second floor in the convent to make it go through. And then we're just going to pick up some nice lines, we'll match the precast color in the convent, bring those lines across the building. We've got nice large windows in all the classrooms. We have these exit doors, unfortunately, which are required by code to get the kids off the second floor. So we're just going to paint those out and match the existing brick. So simply, it was a simple, clean design, lots of glazing, and then tying it into and bringing some important lines across from the existing convent to tie the 2 buildings together in a nice way without making too strong a statement.
What's the square footage of the new?
So the existing convent on the first floor is about 2,700 square feet. The additions are about just under 10,000 square feet of floor. But the main roof will be flat. We'll probably put a white TPO up there so we get good energy performance. And that's it. Any questions?
Donna, any commissioners have any questions? No. Okay.
I just want
Please
to point
proceed.
out, just John Schmitz again with BL. I just wanted to point out one more item with regard to the site plan that you mentioned it's a school. And I just want to note that we do have a playground area proposed on site to be fully fenced in. And I'll show you where that would be. We're taking advantage of the wooded area, shaded area, to the rear of the building, and the parking in this location. So away from the street, again, fenced in playground area in this location. I just want to point that out. Again, I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
So primarily to the rear of the building.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So just one note on it too. We originally, they weren't going to meet the setback requirements.
Okay.
So we had them kind of move and shrink the building, but in some conversations with the mayor, I think we're gonna work a property line adjustment in there because the city land is right next to it. We're gonna work a property line adjustment to allow them to go back to their original building dimensions. So that was one of the updates we'll probably see to the plan for next month.
That's correct. Yeah, and you're referring to the rear yard setback,
Rear yard setback,
at this
yep.
location.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to be working through in the next month.
Is Grove Street a one-way street? Was
No,
it at one?
I think it was at one point. It's not.
Okay,
It's
it
too
is
late
not
now.
anymore.
Yeah. And we are scheduled to go to the ARC tomorrow. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. Couple other things. Yeah, we're still waiting on a wetlands report, just like the previous application for the site, and some reworking of the plans, the building and the plans.
Have anything further at this point?
I just have I'm just curious.
Go ahead,
What's
Greg.
what's the timeline to get it complete once you have approved?
What was that again, Greg?
I said, what's the timeline to complete the project once it's approved?
What's the complete project timeline?
12 to 14 months.
Did you hear that, Greg?
Yeah, 12 to 14 months. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. Any other commissioners have any questions?
So is that just for the is that just to construct the new building or to convert the existing building?
Whole project.
Whole project. Okay.
Yeah. I'll go to the public. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Anyone remotely want to speak in favor? Would anyone like to speak in opposition of this application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Anyone remotely? All right, the time is 7:41. We're going to continue this public hearing until the rest of the information is obtained. And we'll see you
In April 19th.
April 19th.
Okay, well, we'll see some of you tomorrow.
Yeah, all right, the time is 7:41. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item number 5, old business A. Site plan 1438 and location approval, applicant Barris Cara, location 37 Midgeon Avenue, proposal change of use to auto dealer and repair former warehouse office. Is the applicant in attendance, please? Your name and address for the record.
My name is Barris Kara.
Okay.
We are currently located at the bottom of East Main Street. We're looking to move to the 37 Midgeon Avenue.
Okay.
We had a meeting with the Board of Appeals on Monday, and it got approved for the at that meeting on Monday. And we had the property surveyed, and also we had the engineer do some of the requirements that, you know, the town and the motor vehicle requires as far as parking spaces and stuff like that goes. That should all be submitted already.
Okay,
Where's this location?
this is the old Scasco space on Midgeon Avenue, kind of across from the shooting range,
Yep.
correct?
Exactly. Yeah. There's about 4 bays of garage space, and there's a parking lot at the back of the property. The building was occupied, it was originally a shop dealership, and back in the time, and then it was occupied by the oil company for a long time. They used it to store their trucks, like a warehouse, all the supplies they had and stuff like that. So it was just really neglected for a long time. We have painted inside and cleaned up. On the outside, we're planning on painting the building. I'll work with the town, and then also all the landscape in the back. I know the Honda building got bought out, and the back of their building is kind of our building. Everything was overgrown. We kind of cut all the stuff back and cleaned up all the dirty, nasty stuff.
Okay.
We're trying to revive all the grass back and stuff in the corners. It's just been years of just neglect. So just trying to clean up back there. It looked nice.
Yeah.
And I know that oil company moved out, the landlord took out all the oil tanks out of the parking lot, worked with DEP. That's all cleaned up. So just trying to improve it a little bit, make it
All right.
nicer.
Very good, sir. Any commissioners have any questions at this point? Right, Jeremy, you got a memo? Please.
Boris Kara has filed an application for property at 37 Midgeon Ave, tax assessor map 110, block 020, block 023, to change the use in the rear portion of this property from a warehouse office use to a motor vehicle repair and service. The property is owned by Town Gas LLC, is 0.51 acres, 22,215 square feet in area, and is located in the DD downtown district zone. The last approved historic use of the subject area of the property, rear garage bays and rear parking lot, was for an office and storage facility warehouse for an oil company. The use of this property as a motor vehicle repair garage is allowed by site plan approval in the DD zone under zoning regulations section 3.1, table of permitted uses, subsection 8.30. There are historic uses on this property as automotive dealers and or repairers. The most recent being a location approval granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals in January 1996. Other property history shows a historic use as an automotive dealer and repairer use back to at least the early 1970s. A property survey titled Automotive Layout Plan prepared for Boris Kara, DBA Eck Motorsports LLC, 37 Midgeon Avenue, Torrington, Connecticut, by Keith Land Surveying, Winston, Connecticut, dated January 20th, 2023, one sheet. Plans submitted are titled Site Development Plan, prepared for Boris Kara, Eck Motorsports LLC, 37 Midgeon Avenue, Torrington, Connecticut, by Colby Engineering and Consulting LLC, Goshen, Connecticut, dated March 7th, 2023, one sheet. Staff has met previously with the applicant and spoken with the applicant's engineer prior to this meeting. Other items of note, One, the property has historic pre-existing uses dating back to the 1970s as an automotive repair use, except the most recent use under site plan number 871, approved in 2007 to convert a garage bay to office space and other bays to contractor storage/warehouse. This applicant proposes to change the use back to an automotive repair and limited sales. Two, there are no changes proposed to the site except for addition of parking spaces to the plan to satisfy requirements in the zoning regulations. Three, the handicap accessible space is required to be marked on site and may not exceed 2% slope. The applicant should provide information that these requirements have been met as a condition of approval. Four, location approval for the automotive dealer and repairer location was granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals on March 13, 2023. Other staff comments: Nate Nardi Cyrus, Assistant City Planner, in an email to me dated March 13, 2023, offered the following comments on the plans. Wetlands: there are no regulated wetlands or water courses on or in the vicinity of the subject property that would require wetlands review for this proposal. Therefore, no wetlands permits are required prior to this application. This constitutes a favorable wetlands report for this application. Landscaping: no landscaping plan is required for this application. Lighting: all existing lighting must be updated to be compliant with section 5.17 of the zoning regulations, which includes the use of full cutoff fixtures. We encourage the use of products approved by the International Dark Sky Association. Signage: a sign permit shall be required before installing any new signage in accordance with section 5.15 of the zoning regulations. Conservation: this application will not be referred to the Conservation Commission for comment. On March 15, 2023, Mr. Nardi Cyrus sent the following additional comment by email to the city planner. Zoning Board of Appeals: during the 3/13/23 regular meeting of the ZBA, the board granted a location approval for the proposed service station and car dealer at 37 Midgeon Avenue without conditions. Architectural Review Committee: this project was not referred to the ARC for comment. Engineering: Paul Cousins, city engineer, in an email to the city planner dated March 10, 2023, offered the following comments on the application. One, site development plan: the hatched area or the front portion of the building is not labeled or identified. This note is on survey plan, but not on plan CS-101. Two, site development plan is the accessible parking space and accessible route to the building ADA compliant, including grading. Show grades and or slopes on the plan. Show the accessible route to the building entrance. Three, site development plan: show a line on the plan that indicates the boundary between the activities of the two businesses. Four, site development plan: confirm the business for this application has access to Midgeon Avenue and that this access conforms with the city specifications. In subsequent verbal communications with the city engineer, he agreed to waive the comments on this application except for those dealing with handicap accessibility due to the historic uses of the property. Police Traffic Sergeant Dustin Baldus, in an email to me dated March 15th, 2023, stated that he had no comments on these plans. Fire: no comments were offered by the Fire Marshal's office on this application. WPCA: no comments were offered by WPCA on this application. Building official Kevin Gillette, in a letter to me dated March 13th, 2023, submitted the following comments. Building department permits must be obtained for all work performed. Permit applications must be accompanied by complete sets of IBC section 107 construction documents prepared by a registered design professional. Thank you. Conclusion: I recommend approval of site plan application number 1438, 37 Midgeon Avenue, to change the use in the rear portion of this property from a warehouse/office use to a motor vehicle repair and service with limited automotive sales. That should say with the following conditions. One, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Assistant City Planner Nate Nardi Cyrus in his March 13 email to the city planner, specifically regarding lighting and signage. Two, it is recommended that the applicant follow the permitting requirements of building official Kevin Gillette contained in his letter to the city planner dated March 13, 2023. Three, the applicant shall submit information on the final plans showing the slope of the handicap accessible parking space and the location of the accessible route and slope to the building entrance. 4, the applicant shall be required to stripe and mark the handicap space on site. 5, no more than 4 vehicles shall be displayed for sale at any time as presented on the submitted plan. 6, in accordance with section 8.4.3 and 8.4.6 of the zoning regulations, the following shall be submitted to the city planner. A, 2 paper copies of the full approved plans, including the engineer's stamp and chairman's signature box. B, 1 Mylar copy of the full approved plan set for filing with the city clerk in accordance with section 8.4.3.p of the zoning regulations. Each Mylar sheet shall bear a chairman's signature box, a copy of the approval letter from the commission, an engineer's seal and live ink stamp. C, Mylar sheets shall be filed by the applicant with the city clerk after the signature of the chairman and prior to occupying the site for business use.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any comments or questions? No. All right. Wrap it up. She's got it. All right. Go ahead, Donna.
I'd like to make a motion to approve site plan application 1438-37 Midgeon Avenue to change the use of the rear portion of this property from a warehouse / office use to a motor vehicle repair and service with limited automotive sales with the following conditions. 1, it is recommended that the applicant follow the advice of Assistant City Planner Nate Nardi Cyrus in his March 13 email to the city planner specifically regarding lighting and signage. 2, it is recommended that the applicant follow the permitting requirements of building official Kevin Gillette contained in his letter to the city planner dated March 13th, 2023. 3, the applicant shall submit information on the final plan showing the slope of the handicap accessible parking space and the location of the accessible route and slope to the building entrance. 4, the applicant shall be required to stripe and mark the handicap space on the site. 5, no more than 4 vehicles shall be displayed for sale at any time as presented on the submitted plan. 6, in accordance with section 8.4.3 and 8.4.6 of the zoning regulations, the following shall be submitted to the city planner. A, 2 paper copies of the full approved plans, including the engineer's stamp and chairman's signature box. B, 1 Mylar copy of the full approved plan set for filing with the city clerk in accordance with section 8.4.3p of the zoning regulations. Each Mylar sheet shall bear a chairman's signature box, a copy of the approval letter from the commission, an engineer seal and live ink stamp. C, Mylar sheet shall be filed by the applicant with the city clerk after the signature of the chairman and prior to occupying the site for business use.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Parasino. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Good luck, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right,
All right, moving on to agenda item number 6B, site plan 1445, applicant Borghese Building, location 2015 East Main Street. Proposal renovate and 2 new additions. I'm sorry. Back it up. I skipped one. Sit back down, Mr. Borghese. Sorry. I guess I just want to get out of here. Agenda item number 6A, new business. Special exception 23-02, applicant Wendy Roberts for WM Water 63 LLC, location 63 Water Street, proposal 2 residential units on first floor in DD zone 6.8.17A.B. We need to set a public hearing date. This suggested date is April 19th, 23. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner
moved.
Greco. Do I have a second?
second.
Thank you, Donovan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
so moved. All right, let's try it again. There, Mark. Moving on to agenda item number 6B, site plan 1445, applicant Borghese Building, location 2015 East Main Street, proposal renovate and 2 new additions to existing car dealership, 630 square feet and 1,920 square feet. Is the applicant in attendance, please?
Borghese Building and Engineering, Mark Borghese, president, representing, I guess we call it Northwest Hills Jeep, and Kevin Sullivan as well, so.
Thank you. What are you looking to do?
So what we're proposing is, Northwest Hills has to renovate, their building as part of, Jeep's kind of new, EV dealership, program. So he needs a, addition, let's go with the first edition, which is a smaller one off the side, which will be more based on a showroom, that'll show electric vehicles, their new products and stuff like that. The next edition is a little bit larger. Obviously, this is for a service drive-in for his customers. They'll come in, drive into the building, exit, and they do the whole run through of their cars and et cetera. So, and then as well as the rest of the building, which really has, somewhat to do with you guys, but inside is kind of an interior gut just to update his showroom, again, for new Jeep products and Chrysler products. Both additions, so to speak, are pretty much relatively wide open. There's no offices or anything inside that. The actual work is inside their existing building.
So when you face Northwest Hills, this is the building to the left, the Jeep.
If you're facing Northwest Hills, it's a center building, the Chevrolet,
Okay.
Jeep, and then Honda's to the left.
Okay, thank you.
So if you're looking at Jeep, it's going to go towards the Honda side, the two additions.
Right. I was gonna say the house is still is on the other side.
No.
Any commissioners have any questions? Jeremy, I believe there's staff comments pending on this.
Yes, there's still staff comments
I
pending.
think somebody has a question on that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Starley, you got something?
Yeah, before we move on, I have to recuse myself from this site plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Note that for the record. Thank you, Starley. Appreciate
Thank you.
that. All right, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, we're just waiting to clean up our comments from other departments, and we should run this through ARC just to let them get a look at it.
Yeah, when I applied, I said I would apply for ARC as well, so.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't talk to you about this. There's a million things going on when you submitted, so.
No worries.
All right, so once that other information is back together, we'll see you again.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sure.
All righty.
Yeah, so we're just, so we'll chat about a date for ARC. We're kind of too close to put it in tomorrow's meeting. But
Okay.
Next couple of weeks, next few weeks.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll run down the application, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 6C, special exception 23-03 and site plan 1446, applicant Haynes Aggregates Torrington LLC and ONG Industries Inc. Location 3217 Winston Road and 3345 Winston Road. Proposal 6.4 earth excavation accessory retail sales. We need to set a public hearing date. The suggested date is April 19th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Donna. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
You just wanted to come and hang out with us.
Yeah. Moving on to agenda item number 7, correspondence. A, zoning and blight violation update. I believe we have that in our packet,
Yeah,
everyone.
you have the latest list as usual. If any questions come up on anything, let me know. I know I haven't had a chance to clean it up in a couple of months on my end. But I have to do an update to it. I usually update the site plan part of it at the end,
Right.
and I haven't really touched it in a couple of months, so it should change a little.
Okay. And then item 7B, Town Farm Road, SR Litchfield LLC, MW Solar Photovoltaic Project petition for declaratory ruling and party status under Connecticut General Statutes SS 22A-19.
So we have a fairly large packet here. One of the neighbors filed a 22A-19 intervenor. That's under the Connecticut Environmental Protection Act, SEPA. So we were notified as, as the municipality. At the time that this project was before the siting council, we did put in comments through the Conservation Commission, and they were, I guess, a little bit late after it had all gone through, but we did receive a response that basically just went down the list of the permitting, the deed permitting, and Department of Ag and everything they had to go through at the siting council. But these residents, I believe the residents of Litchfield, the Nicholases, are now party to it should be party to the deep stormwater. They have to issue a stormwater permit at deep.
So they want to propose a solar field?
Yeah, which was approved in, I believe, late 2021 or early 2022 by the siting council.
But it's in Litchfield.
It's in both towns. Part of it straddles the line up off Highland Avenue.
The majority's in Litchfield.
Yeah, like probably 2/3 of it in Litchfield and about 1/3 of it in Torrington. But it's another massive solar project. So this is just another opportunity for the residents to be heard. That this 22A19 law. It's basically any project you can get intervener status if you believe there's an environmental
Problem.
Yeah, that's going to negatively impact the environment. They've filed in the part of the review that is the stormwater management review on the deep side of the project. So what they're basically asking is instead of deep issuing it under a general permit, that it go through a full hearing with deep in order to be approved. So
Is this part of that property that that they attempted to use or to put in a housing development? Or it wasn't housing, it was?
No, it was near there, but it's a different parcel. It's
Different
all
parcel.
fields.
Okay,
All those fields up there, like if you
Yep.
you go around to Ross
Further-
Road, yeah.
right, okay, I got you.
We're good on that?
Yeah.
All right, and just for the record, the Zoom meeting that took place on Saturday for planning and zoning, informational purposes, Donna Greco attended, myself, Greg Mealy attended. I believe Greg Persino, you did.
Yes, I did.
Yep, he emailed me. with-
Anyone else, Starley or Donovan?
I did not.
No.
I did
Okay.
not.
And I believe Diane Carroll did, so it's just FYI.
Yeah, so in case people, I think might have been a couple of people missing last month. We have a requirement of 4 hours of training. Well, it's every other year after this year, but we have to get 4 hours in 2023. After that, it's every 2 year, every 2 year cycle. So there's going to be plenty of other opportunities. I just have to log it. I mean, my job basically is to log what you do for training, make sure it adds up to 4 hours, and provide a report to city council by the end of the year. So as things come up, I'll let people know. There might be some other free opportunities or other things that people might be able to just attend with me, depending on what the training budget looks like.
And we did listen to the affordable housing component, which was mandatory.
Yes, yeah, so there was the people that were there, you'll remember there was one on affordable housing and one on fair housing. If you were in both of those, you satisfied that requirement.
Just as a point, the fair housing to me is something that we should be addressing as a zoning board, planning and zoning.
And that was a big focus of our affordable housing plan. So there's some more action items that we have to dive into.
Yeah, the affordable housing plan is one aspect, but the federal housing has way deeper considerations that I think we should try and get ahead of.
So so in the affordable housing plan, some of the pieces of it that we have to look into implementing had to do with fair housing as well.
Yeah.
So we'll go, I mean, I have to compile that. We did that adoption in the P O C D, that piece of it in the P O C D, but that's all we've done so far.
Right. It's just that that's got some, there's ACLU, there's all kinds of
Yeah.
legal groups that are really pushing hard for.
And we don't want that.
I guess what they-
dust either.
Yeah. So I would love to see Torrington be ahead of that curve.
All right, you want to, so if you want me to, I'm thinking when we start doing double meetings in May and June, it might be a good thing to put on just for discussion, because maybe we'll have a little less busy meetings.
Yeah.
It
I'd
doesn't
like,
look like April's going to be less busy, so.
no,
All right, sounds good. All right, the time is 8:06, moving on to agenda item number 8, adjournment. I have a motion.
I move
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
And a
Second.
Thank you, Greg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I.
Opposed? So
Aye.
moved. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
You too.
Two.